Failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently. Henry Ford. My friends, keep that positive mental attitude. You hear it from all the successful people. Stick with it. You can do this. Just stay the course. Again, that's what it's all about. I tell everybody it's just perseverance. It's just being strong enough to keep going. Now, let's jump into these charts and see what's going on with the markets. We see everything swinging up for the day. The biggest up for the day is Bitcoin. Let's jump into the S&P 500 first. We look at this weekly chart where we see how things have gone down for many, many weeks. Started turning around last week, heading up this week, bouncing off the 200 EMA. Now we look at where things are on our half-day chart, and we see that we are in the green there, and look at it, tracking up to the 200 EMA. Now, I could be wrong, but I am guessing, just guessing here, that we may see what the pattern that we saw last time if we go back to early September, where things went up and then rolled over and gave us a couple of nice opportunities to short the market. Is that going to happen again? Well, it could. Not necessarily going to do that, but we've seen that pattern very recently. We are at the top as far as the STC goes. The green line's down here. That is our big indicator. And hopefully we will see things bounce off and roll over, head down. That would be wonderful. It's what we're waiting for. Now, if it blows through the 200 EMA, goes into positive territory, then we'll be looking to go long at some point. We have had the 2-day rally. It went into the green a couple of candles ago. It's moving up also toward its 200 EMA. But again, the last time we saw it rally through there, it turned over, bounced off, and then gave us our first and second opportunities. So we're just going to wait, watch, and see. The charts are going to tell us what to do. We don't have to force this. We do see that, of course, that weekly chart that we looked at first, still negative on the STC. That gives us a negative 10 as far as the down moves go, because we predicate our success multiplier formula on where that half-day chart is. If you've not taken that success multiplier training that we have, how to use the success multiplier formula, I'm going to put it at the end of today's video so that you have it and you understand better what I'm talking about here every day. Shows us the power of all three waves. So, writing that down so that you've got it. I'll put it in today's video. Now, let's move on to the Qs. Very similar with the Qs. It's still much further below the 200 EMA than the S&P is, but it is heading up green on the STC. 2-day, same kind of thing. It rotated over a little later than the STC, heading up still well below the 200 EMA on the 2-day. And on the weekly, still negative. Now it is, look at this. This is important. It's pushing through that 200 EMA. It had been down below it, actually settled down below it there the week beginning the 10th of October. Red spinning top last week beginning the 17th of October. And this week, 24th of October, pushing up through it. So we'll see. Again, still waiting. We're poised for a down move. If that happens, we'll be ready to pull the trigger and watch that market crash and burn some more in a short trade. Isn't happening yet. Let's move on to bonds. Where are we there? Well, bonds, after weeks and weeks and weeks of down moves, we see bonds now sporting, at least for the day, it's moving up. That's really the biggest up candles we've seen. Yeah, going back quite a while. Going into the green, which is good. We'd like it to pull back so that if it is going to reverse back over going down, we have a reset on the STC. We look at where things are on bonds on the 2-day, still quite negative, well below the 200 EMA there. And on the weekly, still quite negative, well below the 200 EMA there. And in fact, even going a little lower so far this week than it did last week. So we're at a negative 14 on the success multiplier formula. We would be quite apt to pull the trigger if and when we have a rotation back down. We've now made it on the STC up to the top of this center area that we always want to clear before we'd look at getting into another down move. So moving up resetting for us. That's nice. Let's look at where gold is. Gold up for the day, 0.24%, just a little bit, but that's nice. Gold has reset also. We had that most recent trade in gold that did well for us, down 2.34%. So we'll see where gold, you can see it popped up in the morning, burned off some of that energy in the afternoon. So we'll be keeping an eye on it. Still well below the 200 EMA. What about the 2-day? 2-day, of course, rotated over, going down a couple of candles ago. So it's in the red heading down. That's a good sign for a potential down trade if things roll over. And we can see that we're well below the 200 EMA even on that weekly chart. And 2 red down candles for the last couple of weeks. Not reaching the low of last week yet, but we'll keep our powder dry, pay close attention to what gold does over the next few days. Now, Bitcoin bounding up. Very nice to see. Up in the morning, but really hammering up in the afternoon. Green on the STC. What about the 2-day? 2-day's been green for a while. Nice to see Bitcoin. Now, we've seen, in the recent past, Bitcoin booming up and then, of course, just sort of dying on the vine. But one of these days, it's going to catch fire and keep moving. Check out where we are on the weekly. Don't forget, Patreon members, we do have for you tomorrow. We'll be recording that weekly crypto and what do we call that? We call that the charting crypto and commodities. I've added commodities in there for you. So we'll see some interesting things there. But again, not the first time we've seen Bitcoin bound up. We saw 4 weeks of it only to crash. Hopefully, we're setting the stage for a comeback somewhere around this 1820 mark on XBTF. And we'll know when it starts to take off, blows through the 200 EMAs, and Bitcoin catches fire again. That's going to happen at some point in time. Hasn't happened yet, but we'll be ready for it when it does. That's where we are, folks. We'd love to hear from you. cw@chartingwealth.com. Don't hesitate to reach out to us with your questions, problems, concerns. Do catch at the end of today's video the success multiplier formula so you understand how to use the power of all the waves. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters. Thank you, Patreon members.